Hello and welcome to the two-player installment in our latest Board Games Direct series. We've got a whole bunch of exclusively two-player games for you to have a little peep at in this here video. Now importantly, these are paid previews, not reviews. They're separate from our regular editorial coverage, but hopefully we made them fun enough for you to find something that you might like. Without further ado, let's board games.
This is Tag Team Arthur's Legacy, a new standalone tag team game following on from the popular Tag Team. For those of you unfamiliar with Tag Team, it's pretty simple. You have a bunch of different characters represented by these big, gigantic, like turbo tarot cards, I'm going to call them.
Turbo tarot.
And then each of these has a little tiny deck of cards. But to make a team, you need to have at least two people.
You got a tag.
You just have two people. So you choose any two characters you want, you take their two little decks, and then you basically smush them together.
Except for the
starter cards.
The two little starter cards that you have separately as your actual deck, and then your other big smush of cards is your shop that you're going to get new cards from.
Or if you're like me, you shuffle them all together, and then you have to fish through the deck to find the starter cards because you forget to do that at the start of every game of tag team you play.
It's not a recommended strategy.
No, it's silly. Once you've got your two starter deck, your starter deck is going to be two cards, which means in the first round, we're going to play simultaneously. Let's just do it.
Bam!
Bam!
I do this thing.
I do that thing.
Oh, that's maybe bad. I've lost some health. I've been beaten up.
And then the next round, bam. That's the end of the round. We've both played our entire deck of two cards.
Wow.
Oomph. Now,
That's right. It's an auto battler.
Yes.
You're battling automatically.
Automatically. And then each of the characters has health and a bunch of other funky stuff. A lot of the game comes together in the fact that each of these characters have special abilities. Some of them have their own like mana bars or little circles or tracks or things they're doing, mini metagames within metagames. And it might not come as a surprise to learn that your deck of two cards will actually get bigger as you play the game. Once we've all gone through our entire deck of cards, we're going to draw three cards off the top of our deck, have a look at them, and then we're each going to pick one of them to add into our deck. But here is a crucial rub. This deck, you cannot change the order of it. However, when you choose a card to put in, you can choose where it goes. So maybe I put it at the end, maybe I put it in the middle, maybe I put it at the beginning.
All kinds of spicy surprises.
I mean, yeah, when you've only got two cards as a deck, like the choice of where the third one goes is a little bit, it's just above binary, let's call it. However, things get a little spicy as we go on because this deck is never going to change its order. The only way the order changes is when we slide something in earlier into the flow.
Into your little queue.
And that's when the auto battle thing comes into play because you'll know, okay, every time we fight, this person goes biff, biff, block, biff. And so then you think, well, if I can make sure I go block, block, biff, block, then I'm cooking and they're not cooking.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah, effectively that is, we've just sort of described the entire flow of the game of trying to, very much like in a traditional beat 'em up game, which is what the vibe is going for.
Right, yeah.
Of having something where you're trying to like
read your opponent.
Yeah, you know the combo they're going to do and you're trying to guess where to block and where to change it.
And then the mind game of, well, if they know that I'm going to try and block, then they might do something else and trying to work it out. And it's all just real snappy and fast. You very quickly build up this deck. You very quickly have a bout. Very quickly, someone is dead.
Yeah, the original tag team had some really wild stuff in as well, like characters that had a card that if that happened, it just removed the opposite card from the game.
Absolutely.
Which means you could just remove someone's special power. Silly, wild little fights, and because you can tag together any two combinations of characters to have a fight, had a lot of malleability. It was a really fun thing to sit down with someone else and have a little head-to-head play around.
And there's no shortage of that in this new version, which you can play all on its own, or you can combine it with OG Tag Team.
I was wondering.
For unlimited combinations.
Unlimited up to a limited amount.
But it's a lot.
But it's a lot.
And I really love the little twist they've gone with here. Like, when I heard it was Arthur's Legacy, I thought it would kind of be traditional Arthurian style. It's anything but.
No.
Look at this Merlin. That don't look like any Merlin what I've known before.
I mean, he's known a lot of Merlins in his time, let me tell you. This Morgan, it's Morgana? Morgan, just Morgan now.
Just Morgan this time.
Why
He
not?
looks like a cool goth.
Obviously the dragon is here.
Standard dragon style.
Percival, it would have been rude not to invite them.
And look at this Green Knight. It's sort of wooden and gooey.
I mean, I like
with
that.
His sap powers.
And I also enjoy the fact that one of the characters in this is just Excalibur.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, why not?
You can combine it with anyone.
You can just give an immortal sword to whoever you want.
In the first game, you had the Wild Bunch, which were just like 7 people or something like that. You could let them share a giant sword, for
There's
example.
no crime in it.
They've all got their own little unique set of powers. So Morgan's power is you have this crow token, which you put on top of your draw deck. And it's there to remind you that before you get to look at your cards, you get to see what your opponent chose to add to their deck. So you can kind of know what they have ahead of time, but then she's slightly weaker in terms of powers to compensate for that.
But that's foresight. So
And it's 2020. Percival's whole thing is that he slowly ramps up over the course of a match because he's a knight on a horse and he's kind of jousting and galloping, gathering speed. The dragon has protective scales that block damage. The green knight has this interesting regeneration power, but also as he gets weaker, he gets stronger. Merlin's got a whole skill tree. Quite literally, it's a tree that you slowly move up and it gives you little powers.
And it also has skill roots.
Oh yeah.
They can go down.
And they're dangerous. And my favourite of the whole bunch is probably Excalibur. And their whole thing. The sword's whole thing is that it's very strong early on, has a whole bunch of powers, but then if it gets destroyed, you'll see that you don't instantly lose, because normally when one of your fighters dies, it gets flipped and becomes the Broken Blade.
Oh dear.
And suddenly all of its effects are like stronger, but they also do damage to you, so it kind of like ramps up the tension towards the end.
So it basically means that in the tag team you're playing with one character with this weapon.
With a big cool sword.
But then if the weapon breaks, then the weapon starts to eat them.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's awesome.
Kind of eats everyone.
I like that.
It's gnarly. That is Tag Team Arthur's Legacy, a standalone expansion for Tag Team. This is Night Witches, a solo or two-player game in which you take the roles of the 588th Bomber Regiment, an all-female bomber regiment dubbed the Night Witches. They went round in kind of terrible planes and actually managed to blow up quite a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So back in the day, sexism was a problem, as it is still now. So they just allowed the women to fly bomb planes, but they were all death traps.
War's so good.
War is great. I love it. Let's learn about this game.
So this is a scenario-based game, a campaign-based game. We just got the basic intro scenario set up for you here, and you're going to proceed through this book, taking on tougher and tougher challenges, upgrading your plane, upgrading your crew between your little missions to go and blow up some stuff. And the flow of the game is kind of highlighted on this little sidebar here, showing you what you do on your turn. And the first thing you're going to do is move your plane. I'm going to highlight here, maybe the most important feature of Night Witches, elevation. Planes go up, and they also go down.
They do also go down.
At the start of your turn, you're going to get to choose whether you want to climb or drop or just maintain the altitude you're at, and you will place the corresponding little plane figure to show that change. So right now you're at a low altitude, but you could go higher.
So when you're high elevation means you can see further around you, which means you know what you're flying into, because you are flying at night, reminder.
Correct.
However, it means that your bombs are less accurate because you're dropping them from higher up in the air, and also it means you are much more susceptible to being shot down by anti-air.
Absolutely, and if you're low, then the opposite is true. You're kind of slow, you don't see as much, but you're harder to hit, and you're more accurate with your bombs. You can see we've got two different planes. We've got the blue plane and the red plane piloted by each of us with our little personal player board, and the first thing we'll do is we'll move. So I would move, let's say, just one space over into here. And every space you move over, you observe. You take a tile from the bag, you rummage around, and you place it on the space that you're currently in. And depending on your altitude, you get to either observe one or two additional spaces. So I'm low altitude, I'll get one more. Oh no, it's an anti-air gun right in front of me. If you're high altitude, you get two. And also if you're on these searchlight spaces, you get to see everything around you.
Which is great. There's a big light. How helpful of them to put out a big light for us so we can see.
What could the downside be?
I think I know the downside is. Is it maybe that you're easier to shoot?
Absolutely. So after you have done your moving and you're observing, you then have to evade any anti-air guns that are near you. And again, if you're higher, you're easier to shoot. If you're on a searchlight, you're easier to shoot. If you're low or in a cloud, you're much harder. And the way this resolves is using the other bag over here, this green success bag.
Second bag.
You can pull as many tokens as you want from this bag, and you're hoping to get a certain number of successes. Again, easier if you're lower, harder if you're higher. So there's beautiful stuff. There's three different kinds of tokens you can pull. There's red failure tokens. They're bad, as you might expect. There's green success tokens, they're good. And then there's these swirly whirly stress tokens.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. They can be turned into a success by spending 2 fuel. We'll get back to how fuel works a little bit later on.
Yeah, we've got these little planer boards.
Little plane boards, you've got a little collection of fuel that you're going to spend for maybe doing evasions. And also you have to spend one every turn just to move around the board. Yeah. Or you can take one of these failure tokens and put it in your discard pile, which means you're sort of slowly building up more failures that are going
when
the
you
bag.
have to refresh the bag again, you are putting the
more failures in.
So you can.
It's like kicking the problem down the line.
So it really is like pushing your luck. You think, okay, well, I'm going to succeed now. A bit of theming of pushing a plane that maybe can't fly very well to its limits.
Absolutely.
It's a nice idea.
If you don't manage to succeed to evade, then you're going to take damage, which is represented by these red tokens on your player board, so you can take damage to your bombs or your fuel supply, you get rid of those. And that's bad. You don't want that to happen, because if you're out of all of these components, then you explode, and that ends the whole scenario. You just lose there and then. After that, if your plane does manage to succeed, you can then try and bomb targets that you're directly on top of. So over here, you could go and bomb this anti-air emplacement,
Might be an
or you
idea.
could bomb those searchlights that are getting in your way.
Sure.
Again, you pull tokens out the bag, and if you're successful, you flip it to the other side. And this scenario's objective is to get rid of these military emplacements over here. So that's our goal.
There's 3 people.
That's a turn, but here's the interesting thing about Night Witches, is that these pilots would fly like lots of these sorties in one night, and the game represents that by letting you, at any point, decide that you want to return to base. At the end of any turn. You can't just avoid getting blown up by being like, actually, I'm out of here. At that point, you go back and you spend time on this little clock to get some of those resources back. So removing failures from your bag, getting new skill cards, arming yourself up with bombs, or getting fuel, all of it costs time.
Right.
So it's always a little bit of a risk of how much of your resources do you want to spend, because you need to complete your goal before time runs out.
You have to go back and get more fuel, get more bombs, and trying to push your luck and see how far you can go on one run.
Yes,
without having to go
because that's
back.
what's really interesting, is this board doesn't reset in between those little runs.
So discovering the map and the outland is going to be still out there from last time?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can sort of see more and more of the board every single time as you do like flyer after flyover, maybe carving a specific route that's going to get you through. It's interesting. It's very cool.
A lot of interesting stuff going on there.
There's a bunch of skills you can unlock over the course of the missions, and they get a little bit more complicated as you go. So that is Night Witches. This is Red Notice, a million or prison. Is
What
the
a
little
choice.
tagline.
What
I
a
know.
choice. What do you fancy? A million or prison?
It's prison for me, please, officer.
Okay, it's a good choice.
This game's a little bit catch me if you can. You've got one person doing check fraud,
Money.
and actually also identity fraud, or identity impersonation as well, and one person being a boring police person trying to shut them down.
Oh, it's the FBI.
Oh, what are you gonna do?
Stopping all of the fraud.
Put me in prison.
Take the checks and run away with all of the people's money.
This is a hidden movement game, as I shall reveal by moving this box away. This is just, look, it's a little case. The box folds out into your little hidden movement board, which you would normally keep like this, but we're showing you because we're letting you into the little secrets.
Honestly, this is one of the most robust looking hidden movement cases.
Yeah.
I think calling it a hidden movement screen is
doing it a disservice.
Doing it a disservice. This is
A chunky guy.
this is a hidden movement like hard carry case.
And in there, you are going to be doing all of your little hidden movements on your secret board while the FBI agent tries to track you down on the main board. But how are you going to do this? You're going to do it through an interesting little action selection mechanism involving poker chips.
Poker chips.
Our favourite kind. You're going to take 3 of these from your stack each round, and then in turn order, you will place them secretly on one of these action cards, either at the top or the bottom. Now, you can't put 2 of your own chips on one action, but you can contest someone else's. And then what you're going to do is you're going to reveal them one by one, starting from this side. We're going to go wham. I've got a 5 over here. Doesn't matter, because I'm alone on this card, which means I get both actions.
Woof.
I'll explain the actions in a little bit. And then we proceed down and we do a little contest for this one.
Ba-da-bam.
Oh, you beat me.
5 beats 3.
That's 4.
Just maths.
That's just maths. So you're going to get both of those actions. I'm just going to get the one that's closest to me. And we go down through the board, taking these actions one after
Ties,
another.
probably complicated. We're not going to cover it. And then I'm on my own, so I get this all for myself.
Exactly. Now there is one rub. You get this POW token. There's only one of them in your entire stack.
So if you'd powed over there, for example.
You get knocked out. Get rid of that 3. Get it out of here.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I get the whole action and Matt gets nothing. That almost fell off the
It
table.
almost fell on the floor.
You're going to go through this stack of chips over the course of multiple rounds, so you can kind of work out what they might still have in their stack.
But are
based on what you've seen.
the powed out chips out of the game?
No.
Woo!
Well, you get them once every like 3 rounds, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you get a little POW. Okay, so what are these actions? They're super straightforward. You got movement, it lets you move around the board. If you're doing secret stuff, you do it secretly. If you're the FBI agent, you do it publicly for everyone, i.e. the other player, to see. And if you find them, then you get to take away one of their disguises. If you take away all 2 of their disguises and then find them again, caught red-handed.
Nice.
Caught red notice.
And they say, fair play, governor. You've
They
caught
shake
me
your
if you
hand.
could. You could catch me, and you did it.
The other things you can do are use these little security nodules. If you're the FBI agent, they allow you to set up these barricades and also these radars.
Oh, so blocking movement around and also giving you a bit of insight to if someone's in an area?
Yep, absolutely. So if I were to move into Europe right now, I'd go, I went in Europe, and you'd go, oh, and then we'd remove the radar from the board, and you could maybe set one up later on.
And also you're going to get a sense of where they are because these checks, you can only actually cash them when you use a cash a check action on one of these cards. You only cash a check in that area.
Yes, exactly.
Which means if you're suddenly cashing checks in America, hey, spoilers, they're hiding in America.
And they'll come and get you.
And presumably you win the game when you either get £1 million of fraud money or you go to jail.
Correct, yeah. If you make $1 million, then the canonically good player, the check fraudster, wins the game. But there is a little bit of a rub to this because when you cash on a 100,000 check, you get a little bit of movement, which is nice, but it's not much money. But if you cash a 200,000 check, then the FBI player gets one of their special escalation cards.
Yeah, you've woken up the FBI and now they're coming to get you.
These are super interesting. There's some gnarly ones in here. Like these are permanent barricades or radars, so you can never remove them. But there's also ones that mean that you have to just have your whole hand of checks on display for the rest of the game. They're brutal. So do you want to rush to the finish, or do you want to just use a few little squibbles of 100 grand here and there? I don't know.
I don't know either, but I do know I want £1 million and to not be in jail.
Me too.
And that's red notice.
We got dice thrown, Vanguard. You throw the dice and you guard the transit.
There is no van in this game, but there's quite a lot of dice.
And quite a lot of guarding from other players' attacks as they pummel you into the ground with the aforementioned dice.
Now, Dice Thrown Vanguard, I think, was a box with these 4 things in it that was Kickstarted, and these are now the retail packs available as like kind of individual characters. If you've heard of Dice Thrown before, then you'll be familiar with how it works. You get a box, the box has a character in it, the character can do things.
And you pit that character against one of your friends or enemies.
It's a fun game, and now there's 4 new heroes.
4 new heroes for that game that are compatible with every other hero that you got, and they also introduce a bunch of their own mechanics, which we'll talk about in just a second. But before that, if you've never played a Dice Thrown before, here are the very basics. Turn structure in this game is super duper simple. You're gonna have a bit of income and upkeep at the start of your turn where you get resources, including some of these combat points you can later spend on various cards. We'll get to the cards right at the end. And then most of the game is you rolling your dice and then using them to activate the abilities on your board. So right now, I could use these to activate my pickaxe ability. Or if I wanted to be a bit ballsier, you get a couple of rerolls. So I could just reroll my whole big fist of dice and start working up towards this furnace action instead.
I'm gonna hold on to these 3 staffs and see if I can get some more. That's another staff. Oh, another staff!
Now, normally you would do this in turn order. I would do all my rolling and I'd batter Matt and then he would have a go, but we're just doing it at the same time because we're crazy like that.
Yeah, experimental.
You'll then use the dice that you selected in order to activate an ability. So here, my Furnace ability deals 5 damage to you, and then I add some extra damage on top of that based on a dice roll that I then chuck afterwards.
That's me.
And normally you just take that straight to the face, but you also have a little defensive ability in the corner of your board. Before and after this process, you can also play cards from your hand. I've got a few here. Some of them you can play in that main phase. Some are like reactions, and some you play in the roll phase. But the most important thing is that each of these characters has their own little mini game they play in their own unique ways. And that's what we're going to talk about now. What are the 4 new Vanguard heroes? What do they do? Matt, tell me about a Sun Elf.
All of the characters are pretty funky. The Sun Elf has got some interesting stuff going on with, you guessed it, the original hot boy, the Sun.
Wow.
This character's almost like a boss in a video game in a fun way. You start off in your dusk phase with 0 sun points, and then basically each round, for as long as you're not doing anything, you're going to slowly accumulate sun points, and you're going to get sun points for doing abilities. And then when you hit max 5 sun points, you flip over your dusk counter to dawn, and then you arrive in your dawn form fully charged, and at that point you don't keep regenerating it, but at any point you keep regenerating health if you stay in maximum dawn, and then you can at any point choose to spend all of your dawn power to add that value to an attack.
Wow.
So basically you slowly charge up, and then you build up your sun meter, and then you blast it at another player, and then you go back into the dark again.
I don't want to get sun blasted.
Well, then maybe don't fight against the Sun Elf, because it seems to be that that's their thing.
Or maybe I should could use my Forge Master powers to prevent myself from getting blasted by the sun. The Forge Master's cool thing is that in their deck of cards, they have a bunch of these ores that you can find, like diamond ores and gold ores and ultimanium ore, which you can either dig for using your mining action and you socket them on here, or you can find them in other ways, in regular ways, and you can use those ores to craft pieces of armor that will protect you against the enemies. If you blasted me with the big sun and I had this very cool helmet on my character,
nice.
I love how the art overlaps.
Yeah, like
this.
you actually, this character just comes with little cardboard pieces, so you can
socket it on your character.
Dress up your little character on the board. That's very fun.
As you get these pieces of armor and as you upgrade them, you can sort of deflect and block more damage from your opponent, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, better hat. Done.
Now, what about the other two? Well, we're going to hide this transition between this board and the next one with a cool star wipe. Wow.
That was one heck of a star wipe.
And
that
we're
was
back.
Probably my favourite star wipe we've ever done. So now we're going to look at these other characters, the two other characters, and we have the Druid and the Duelist.
Facing off for the very first time. My Duelist character has a fancy footwork track that they can go forward and backwards on, sort of like a gear stick.
Okay.
Or what I assume using a gear stick is like.
Yeah.
When they get up to the top, they're fully powered offense time and they'll jab you, but then they can step backwards into defensive mode and maybe do some cool blocking. They also have these little guard break counters they can spend to make any of their damage unblockable. And they can disarm you as well, which means you don't get any income at the start of your turn because you've been hoodwinked by a Duelist.
And I bet that there's some funky stuff on the cards that lets you be hopping back and forth and doing some funky stuff.
And on the abilities on your board as well.
Yeah.
You can constantly kind of move around going like...
That's fancy.
That kind of vibe.
The Druid is fancy in its own way, of basically being like kind of what you'd expect in a fun way. These dice, these gloopy green naturey dice, are absolutely delightful.
Good
and
colours.
your abilities are all ability to slash at things, to protect the forest, gain some regeneration power. Basically, you can heal yourself, you can attune things, but the most fun thing you can do...
You've got a lot of custom tokens over here.
These tokens are shapeshifting tokens, because what do druids do?
They turn into gophers.
No, well, maybe, sometimes. I have the ability, I hid this underneath.
Wow, oh, that's so cool. That's really
right?
cool.
So whenever you have these shapeshifting tokens, you can at any point just spend one and you can either shapeshift back into being the druid, traditional regular druid style, or you can be bear or cat. And they all have like different abilities. I think that the bear is just like strong and more defensive.
As you'd expect.
Whereas the cat is able to wound people.
And treacherous.
Which, as you might expect, is just not a good thing to...
No, I don't like being wounded.
You don't want to be wounded.
Both in Dice Throne and in real life.
So yeah,
I also really like how the vines are like growing over your board in a fun way, whereas my Duelist one is very like pointed and svelte.
So this looks like a more complicated character than this one, but this one can become a cat. So that's who is to say what is
actually
anything?
all got a little complexity level on the back, and it says Druid is complexity 4 pip.
Oh, and this is complexity
only 3 pip.
3. So actually, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I told you that for free.
That's Dice Throne Vanguard, 4 spicy new heroes to put in Dice Throne.
You're in Siberia and there's a manhunt on. A manhunt for the man that is one of you. That's right, it's Siberian Manhunt.
Deluxe Edition! This is a game where one of you is trying to escape the other in a cat and mouse game of hidden movement.
Yeah, you can see there's a lot of different places to move to.
There's a lot of places to move hiddenly.
I can see the number 325. This is like an advent calendar from an alternate reality or hell.
It really is, right? This is a really fascinating game. This is one of the most thematic games I think we've got in this Board Games Direct series. There are so many little rules in this that made me go,
a little simulation.
Ooh. Yeah. It's a hidden movement game, and one of you is playing a crashed pilot, and the other player is playing all of Russia, trying to track you down and get you, either killing or capturing you.
And quite literally all of Russia. Like you've got like both the government and the army, and just maybe civilians.
And people. This is the manhunt bag. We'll come back to this properly later, but it shows what people think of you as the pilot.
I don't want to know what people think of me. As somebody who's been on the internet for a long time, I'm really not interested in what people think of me.
You're going to know it in bag form.
I'm
going to give you the broad strokes of the structure of how this game works, and I'm going to tell you about some of those weird little fiddly specifics, because I think that's the stuff that's really exciting. So the basics are that each of you are going to take a turn, one after another, and both turns are going to resolve by spending energy. You can see over here, in fact you can't even see over here because it's quite off camera.
It's a sprawler.
This is the Fugitives board, and you can see they've got their energy tracker here, and you'll spend this in order to take different actions. You've also got your meals tracker here, how many things what you have eaten, and your health and your equipment and all that kind of stuff.
I like the idea that, because I think only because it's just above the clothes section, that like, this just tracks how many sandwiches you have in your coat. Because obviously you can really only viably keep 2 sandwiches, one in each pocket.
Or how many knives and forks you have on you to
Are you Paddington the Bear in this game?
Maybe. But before you do any of your actions, you're going to do something kind of exciting. You're going to draw one of these wilderness cards and have an encounter. Oh my god, it's a bear.
It's a bear.
Straight away.
I mean, straight away it's a Siberian brown bear. Okay, who could have seen this coming?
So there's different things you can encounter. Like there's animals you can encounter which you might have to run away from, or you can hunt, or you can just fight if you're crazy.
Okay.
But there's also like people you can find in here as well. Like this motorist who's passing you by, who you might be able to hitch a lift with if they're like friendly.
Amenable.
Yeah, if they're amenable, or if they're like potentially, depending on the contents of the manhunt bag, they might be like, oh, I don't want this horrible pilot because I've been influenced.
Well,
by
fugitives
propaganda.
are like that. I think, you know, now fugitives unfortunately are mostly just criminals, but like, you know, political fugitives, there's a bit of camaraderie sometimes. People are like, you know what, good for you. Just like in the film, The Fugitive, starring, what's his name from the Star Wars?
I just found out there's a murderer in this deck.
Oh no.
Some of them might be nice, some of them might be a literal murderer.
Oh, that's the last thing you want.
Also, this is just like a random rule, but I love it so much, is that if you eat uncooked meat while you're out in the wilds, you'll add these cards to your wilderness deck. If you would care to flip these cards over, you'll find that they are parasites.
Oh, no.
With one of the grottiest pieces of art I think I've ever seen in a game.
I don't want those boys in my holes.
Well, they're gonna be if you eat that uncooked meat. And you're gonna need to find food to eat, which you might find by hunting stuff in the wilderness, or if you go to towns, you might find them in this urban deck, which kind of represents you like breaking into people's houses and stealing all of their canned goods.
Oh, nice, nice. I enjoy the fact that obviously on this map of like a million places, you do seem to have that almost like kind of, I want to think Gloomhaven's the thing that makes me think of it, and the fact that you had the road deck and the town deck, having like different sorts of events and different sorts of things that can happen in the different kinds of locales. It's
very cool.
Pretty neat.
It's really cool. And there's also lovely little rules about like how you can traverse it. Like you can hitchhike down roads, or you can cross these water spaces.
Yeah.
And in winter, they'll freeze over and you can use land vehicles to cross them as well. It's very cute.
There's a lot going on, but it's kind of giving me like Escape from Colditz vibes.
Yes,
like,
absolutely. It feels very like classic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then on the other side of things, you have the Russian player who has this big old deck of these cards that they're going to be able to purchase with their energy that give them new technologies, such as these, what are they called? Aero sledges for hunting rapid style. But also you're going to have these red cards that get stuck in your sort of apparatus that represent your kind of bureaucracy getting in the way. You're also going to be able to field like armies.
Bureaucracy didn't get in the way of the Soviet Union, did it? Spoilers.
It did. I also really love that you can see over here on the other side, those black trackers that you've got over here. These are like specialists that you can deploy by spending like all of your energy to crack out the big guns for hunting down this guy. There's like a lot of really fun stuff. Like
I mean, I've noticed this, the transparent plastic red sheet, which you've told me is for like kind of making a plane sweep.
That's the aerial search sheet. There's just a lot of like little fiddly details in this that I really like. The basics of it, you know, the turn by turn is just you spend energy to do actions, but I like all that simulationist crunchy stuff that's going on.
It does feel like an alternate reality game from like the 80s.
Yeah,
or 70s.
It's the childhood game that you think you remember.
Yeah.
So that's a very broad overview of Siberian Manhunt. The game I think looks pretty cool.
Interesting.
This one looks a little bit like Madcala, but a little kooky.
Yeah, this is Madcala, a game set in the Wonderland's war universe, which means it's Alice in Wonderland, but a little bit messed up.
Yeah, a little goopy.
Just a little bit goopy for your enjoyment. And yes, this game is very Madcala-y. What you're going to be doing on your turn, very broadly, is choosing one of the spaces on your side of this map, which is this one, thing, and then pick them all up, and then drop them off one at a time on the following spaces. Now that's pretty simple initially. It just means that you've done that, you've dropped here, and then you activate the ability on the place where you've landed, which in this instance,
two more little rocks
which you place on your dinner plate on your side. Your home plate on the side of the party. Now it's my turn, and I would do something similar. I will maybe go here and go 1, 2.
You've got into my territory.
I've gone into your half
You're
of
in
the
my
board,
zone.
and you take 2 damage, which you will change on your little spinner, because yes, this is Madcala, but also we're fighting each other.
To the death.
To the death, probably. But it's death in Alice in Wonderland, which really, I don't know what that means.
So what does that mean, really?
But herein lies some of the rub. Now it's your turn again. You can still only activate spaces on your side of the board, which means you could lift these up and go 1, 2, 3, 4.
And I can
skip
keep
over.
you on my side.
And then one here, actually.
Oh yeah,
skip
they jump
my
over
plate.
your home plate.
Because home plates activate special bonus powers.
Like baseball.
Like it's very much baseball. It gets tricky because after a little while, once things are on my side of the board or your side of the board, you can't really control them anymore. You can only start a movement from the plates on your side.
So you can only pick up the things that are on your area, therefore I could get real congested if I started slapping all your stuff over
And
there.
I can purposefully leave loads of yours sitting around here, and you're begging for me to do something with them so they could come back to this side, but I might not do that.
What's happened to me?
Initially, it's already a little bit mean. That meanness gets more mean when you add in the fact that we have special powers.
I'm playing as Alice, and I've got 3 fancy powers at my disposal. I've got a Griffin that lets me move my doubler around, which I'm sure we'll get to in just a second. I've got a Dodo that lets me you have to choose between one of these helm tokens and maybe suffer a consequence.
Yeah.
And I've got a Blade that can hit one of your cards.
The classic Vorpal Blade.
Classic Vorpal
Who doesn't
Blade.
love it? Alice, the original girl who got lost. And I am over here, the Cheshire Cat. Gosh, that's a really messed up cat.
That's a crazy animal.
This character has the ability, they just swap out the doubler, which we'll come back to in a second, with a dice. So instead of using the normal doubler thing, they just roll a dice every time this large piece lands on a space. And maybe they'll get better results, maybe they'll get things they don't want.
Maybe they'll hurt themselves in the process.
Yes, there's just an element of madness going on there with the Cheshire Cat, as you might expect. The doublers, though.
Let's talk about the doublers.
These are just chunkier versions of
They're
pieces.
huge.
Now, whenever you move a doubler, you could go 1, 2, 3. You must always place a doubler last, but that's good because it doubles the results.
No.
So you get 4 gems to put onto your plate.
That's resupplying my meager offering on
It
the side
is,
of the
but
table.
also now you have no more new ones to put into play. Again, you know, just pointing out the whole thing about when they all end up on this side of the board, you can end up in a bit of a pickle if you've got no more new ones to put in.
But I can maybe get some more in my bank by using my powers, because we forgot to mention that all the powers have a cost.
They do.
Which you spend in these little chits, which you can take from anywhere on the board.
Yes,
So I can use my Griffin to do that, and then move my doubler to over here, and then give myself a whole crazy turn.
Exactly.
Combo-tastic.
So yeah, you've got these abilities. Every time you use an ability, you spend the crystals. You can take them from anywhere you want on the board, and then you flip them over to show that they've been exhausted. It's possible to
Bring them back.
out again, and it's also possible to get these kind of commoner cards, which are cards you draw up in your hand, and they have powers.
Special one
This one just
uses.
immediately nukes a crystal anywhere on the board and does 2 bits of damage. This one allows you to just drop 3 crystals onto the board. Very nice.
That's a really nice picture of a hedgehog.
It is. It is a hedgehog. I was going to say it was something else. It's not a hedgehog. It's a Alice in Wonderland thing.
But it's just a hedgehog.
It's just a hedgehog.
A crazy one. Matt, you know, I think this seems cool, but isn't it a little stingy only having 2 characters in the box?
Oh gosh, Tom, thank you for helping reminding me of the thing. There are 6 different characters. You've got the White Rabbit.
Wow.
You've got the Mad Hatter.
Woo.
You've got the Red Queen.
Yeah.
She's just unreasonable. And you've got the Jabberwock, everyone's favourite original nonsense boy.
Yeah, what the hell? He's a little green goblin type.
Just a green thing.
They've all got their own little special powers, special tokens. They've got their own unique cards that they have, and then they also have their own little fancy powers that they have with these tokens.
All of the cards, like all of the different characters, play slightly differently and have different strengths and weaknesses. And there's an element of having to know what your opponent is roughly able to do and use it against them as best you can. Yeah. It's a very neat little twist on Madcala with some kind of cosmic encountery style twists and turns.
Just a bit of gentle nonsense thrown in there.
Bit of gentle Tea Party nonsense.
Love it. That's Madcala.
Spell is wizards.
It's wizards.
It's wizards. And whether you like it or not, we all have to spell because that's how we make words.
But these aren't spelling words. These are spelling spells.
Wizards.
Magic style.
So these are wizards, right?
These are our 2 little wizards that have
a
a little magical duel on top of this grid of tiles.
Oh, why wouldn't they?
And how are they going to duel? They're going to duel via the medium of shapes. This is a very straightforward, abstract-y, kind of passive fighty game where you're going to be trying to assemble these patterns on the grid in your colour.
That classic genre.
It is.
Abstracty, shapey, patterny kind of thing.
It's a passive-aggressive battling game.
A pattern aggressive.
Oh,
because of all of the shapes we're going to be making.
Like it.
Thanks.
Your turns are pretty straightforward in this game. You're going to do 4 things, and those things you're going to do are basically represented on these cards that you have in front of you. Right now, I've only got 2 things available to me, but I might get more.
You might get more options.
We'll talk about card number 1 first. This card lets you move your wizard or flip a tile adjacent to your wizard.
Okay.
So let's say I want to move, I could move my little guy right over here, or I can move him over here, or whatever I want, or instead, and bam, activate this tile, and now I've got more active tiles on the board. I'll come back to why this is useful a little later. Your wizard also makes any tile that they're stood on count as active as well, and I'll explain that in just a second. The other thing that you can do with your turn, you can take an upheaval action, which is shown on this card. And when you do an upheaval action, you pluck any unoccupied tile from the board, so for example, this one, and you place it in the empty spot.
Whoa. I thought we were talking like edge to edge.
No, anywhere you want.
Anywhere to anywhere.
Anywhere to anywhere, buddy. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to pluck it over here, and then you must fill the gap that was created by this tile. So I'm going to choose to push these tiles in like that, but I could also slide this one up like this if I wanted. But let's keep it to this one.
When you did that, it was making like stone moving sound effects in my head. I don't know if anyone felt that at home.
We'll add those in post.
Yeah, no, let people have them in their own brain.
We won't add them in post. What you're trying to do with this moving and flipping is ultimately you're going to try and make these patterns as shown up here. So if I manage to do something like this, boom, 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 I've got a nice little pattern. So I could claim this.
That's a classic Tetris shape.
It's a classic pattern. And I would get myself one little power point on this little score tracker over here, and I win the game if I get all the way to 16.
All right.
However, these cards, when you flip them, they have a special spell on them.
Oh my!
That's where the game's name comes from.
Oh my gosh! They said the name. They said the name of the game.
In the game. It's spells. This one, for example, lets me put one of my. I think they're called elementals. Elementals.
Little chaps.
Little chaps. I can place one of them on the board, and then they count as spaces of my colour when I've got a little chap.
Okay. So you're basically moving these tiles around, flipping them over, and then in the process trying to grab these scoring cards?
Yes, you're trying to get points out of them, and also they'll give you access to those spells that let you do funky stuff. Get in the way of your opponent, generally.
So you're not just getting points, you're getting new actions which allow you to mess with this abstract puzzle hellscape in a more exciting way.
Exactly.
Hellscape is a positive thing.
Hellscape positive. When we say hellscape, we mean 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, that's generally true.
There is also a solo mode, and there's some slight asymmetry if you think that this little wizard battle ain't complicated enough for your big old brain. That's spell.
Spelling.
Introducing Gruntz. It's the sequel to Bratz.
The dolls.
The famous dolls.
You know and love.
Yep.
But now they're all involved in a terrible war.
conflict. Oh,
It's not true. It's got nothing to do with Bratz. That was just a joke. But I like that joke.
They've both got the Z on the end.
They do.
Gruntz.
And I'm not usually a fan of the Z on the end of things, but in this instance, I think it's perfectly correct and right for a game which is clearly a little bit grubby.
These look exactly like grunts with a Z. If they had an S, I'd be like, those are not my grunts.
They're almost goblins.
They're this close to
Pretty
goblins. This is a little dinky war game. You said when I put it out on the table here, you said it looked a little bit like Advance Wars.
Yeah, that was my vibe.
That's kind of what they're going for, I reckon. So it's a very simple, very straightforward little war game for 2 players, and it's very straightforward. On your turn, you're going to take 3 actions, and those actions are going to be a mixture of movement and deploys. You can do 2 movements, 1 deploy, or vice versa. Moving is real straightforward. You just pick up one of your little pieces and you move it according to its movement rules. Little army soldiers only move 1 space at a time, whereas tanks can go all along and cover a lot of ground real quick. You didn't like that noise, did you?
No, it made me think of the horrors of war.
Oh yes,
which I love.
So you can move your pieces around the board, and if you enter into a space with another unit that you can fight, so like soldiers can fight soldiers, tanks can fight anything, little regular infantrymen are going to struggle to take down a big old tank. That's what your planes are for.
Gotcha.
If you move into a space with an enemy, then you remove it.
Okay.
And you're trying to whittle down your forces because ultimately you're trying to press into these control spaces, which will earn you points. And if you manage to get 3 points, you just win the game. Or if you manage to take the control of your opponent's headquarters, that is your other way of winning. The other action you can take is deploying, which is just fielding new units onto the board. And you've got a whole smorgasbord of units you can put down. The titular grunts are your bread and butter army soldiers. Your captains let you move around your grunts a little faster.
Nice.
And your tanks and your trucks have
I
different
mean,
movement abilities.
I've got to point out the fact that like this game has got like,
I'm burying the lead.
You're burying the lead quite heavily, and that's fair enough. There's little magnets in these pieces, which means you can have these trucks that can move along, carrying things around, and you can put different things in the truck.
Yes.
And more importantly than that, with these tanks, they've got these little turrets that actually
you can swivel them around.
You
Isn't
can
that
swivel
cute?
around the car. I mean, I'm assuming you can also put different things on top if you want.
You can put whatever you want on top. So this truck, I could have like an artillery gun on it like this. I think that's an AA gun. Or I could say maybe I'll have a cannon instead for taking out tanks.
Oh my.
You can clip whatever you want onto whatever you want.
There are no laws. We're going to crazy town.
I also like these aircraft, which you can have on their fighter or their bomber side, and they don't travel on the map like normal. They go on these diagonal lines. They kind of you can line up everything in one go. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you'll be making a lot of those kinds of noises.
Yeah, it's a fun, chunky head-to-head war game in a small box.
In a tiny box.
Yeah.
That's Gruntz.
That's Gruntz. This is logic and law. Small enough that I can pick it up off the table. Usually we just point at them, but this one, one-handed. Whoa, am I the strongest man alive? No.
Yes.
Huge if true, and honestly, I would be huge if it were true, but sadly it's not. This is a deduction game for 2 players, a head-to-head deduction game involving cards and numbers.
Oh, my 2 favourite things.
Right, and a kind of magical lick of paint over the whole thing that gives it a bit of a mystical, shiny vibe.
Cards, very nice.
The cards are very cosmic, with a nice little silvery spot gloss on linen. Very attractive, Mr. Bond, very attractive.
They've got a moon that ranges from waxing to waning gibbous?
Yes.
I don't know what those words mean.
Well, the second word means monkey, I believe.
Of course.
This goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 9. I was going to say 1 to 9. I got distracted by the fact that that is a 2.
And I thought you were going to do every single number. This goes 1 to
2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 9. 1 to 9. And both players will have these cards in front of them.
Yes.
So this is a bit of a confusing one because we've got it sideways style to fit onto the camera.
It's sort of like me and Matt are a team going up against you, the viewer.
At home.
These are your cards.
So if this was you at home and this was us, what we would have to do is we would have to try and get our cards into order because each of these cards, spoilers, are also the same numbers.
They got numbers on them.
Absolutely. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to get them all aligned.
Right, so this 4 has to align with this 4 in the middle and this 6 has to align with this 6 over here, right?
Absolutely. And when we think we've done that, we go, I think I've done it. And if you're right, you win the game.
Yep.
And if you're wrong, you lose the game.
Then and there.
How do we deduce these things, however, when the cards are all face down, as they are such? Well, what we do is at the start of a turn, we can choose to move 2 cards.
Yes.
So if we've got an idea about something, we can go, I'm going to switch something around, and maybe they will be in a better position.
And you can do as many of these as you want. You can just juggle them like crazy.
Okay.
If you so desire.
And then you're going to take 2 cards, and without looking at them, you're going to basically hold them up to the other person. Look at these cards.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah,
amazing, aren't they?
Dazzling.
Look at those cards.
Look at those cards, our opponent. And then you get to ask some questions.
It's about time somebody asked some questions, I think.
These depend on the kind of game you're playing. You can play this game in 2 modes. You can either play it in Star Light mode, which is appropriately light and breezy.
Very light.
Or Star Bright mode, which is appropriately dazzling.
Yeah.
Full of rules.
You really enjoyed your star-based
I did,
work.
didn't I?
I enjoyed it too, so I know what mine to be. So you can see there are questions here where it's like, are either of these aligned? Like, are these 2 ones I'm holding, are they in the right position?
Are they in the right position?
Are they? Then I could ask the next question, are they sequential to each other? Is it like 4 and 5, 6 and 7? Do these 2 numbers combine to be exactly 10? And then the final question, which of these is greater?
Right.
Is it this one or this one? However, the rub here is that when you ask these questions, as soon as you get a yes, you have to stop.
Yes.
Which means you can skip these questions, but you have to go from top to bottom. Which means you might go, I don't want to ask that because I know that this first one is going to be a yes, so I'm going to jump down to maybe the 3rd one or whatever and ask that question to see if you can get the most valuable yes you can. Because slowly you're going to be working out, well, okay, if that's true of that, then that must be there, and you're slowly juggling them around to hopefully have a position where you have the high numbers over here near the 9, the low numbers over here near the 1, until you've completely deduced it, and then you can go, hey, I think I got it.
Absolutely.
The base game. The base game is very simple, and it has a little a fun thing in the manual. It says if you're playing against someone who is under 10, then they get to flip over the number of their age to start with, so they have one face up. Just a nice little rub to make it easier. Although if you're playing this with a 1-year-old, that's cruel.
You will win.
You will win. And then the Star Bright version of the game adds a whole bunch of different complexities to things. Basically, these numbers in the middle get all flipped over, and they all have unique different questions on that relate to the numbers that you're holding up. So you still hold up 2 cards and show the other player, but then you place one of your player tokens onto one of these cards, ask that question, and then it means the other player can't use that question card.
A little bit of worker placement.
Yeah, bit of worker placement. Once they're all filled up with pieces, at that point you can start to remove your opponent's ones and place your own one on to ask that question again. But you're still limited about what questions you can ask. And that's basically it. You've got some extra cards that involve black holes. And solar flares and stuff to make the game spicier, and you've also got a handful of these massive tokens which you can use if you are not good at remembering things and don't want to use pen and paper.
Like me.
You can put these on the cards to remind yourself that perhaps, in this instance, it says this one is massive.
This one's absolutely massive.
Don't forget that this one is massive.
Is it massive? That's pretty That's pretty massive.
Is it?
On the scale of numbers.
Well, I'll tell you what isn't massive is this box, and that is
nice
logic
and dinky.
and law.
Logic and law, it's a nice little small box.